It again. James is back on the podcast. James, what's going on? I had you lined up last week, and you had to cancel.
Well, I had an engagement.
An engagement?
If you will, yeah.
Is this Friday night or?
I was gonna say prior engagement, but it wasn't a prior.
It wasn't a prior engagement. You were all set to come on the podcast.
It was just an engagement.
I would imagine you were meeting a lady. That's usually when you dump me for something, or if you can't podcast, it's usually because of a female.
I mean,
I think I've done that though from time to time.
Whenever
like, hey, I'm
a
meeting
man
a lady.
can't do anything, what's the reason?
I'm meeting
Every
a woman.
time.
I'm meeting a woman.
No, every time. So.
All right. So let's go ahead and recap last week. So, part of last week was you were going to come on Friday night. You canceled. You were like, let's do it tomorrow morning. Because you were driving to Philly. And then you had to cancel then, too.
Well, then I ended up having a bunch. Well, not a bunch. It was two extra friends coming to Philly with me. And I didn't want to fucking podcast.
Right.
And call some of my friends. So, because they, listen to music.
No, and I get that.
Yeah, so.
But talk about your experience at the Link. You go there quite often. But have you ever been there for a playoff game, though?
I have not.
You had not? Okay. How was that?
No, it was fucking electric, dude. It was sweet. Philly's such a good sports city. I think it's like right up there with like a Boston or like a.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much it. I'd say only Boston I think is like a cooler sports city than Philly.
I don't know if New York is up there because New York.
It definitely is. I just think New York's a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Like Philly isn't.
I was about to say.
Dude,
like,
Philly,
what percentage of the population in New York really gives a shit about the sports teams?
Exactly. Not that New York does have it.
Right.
Dude, New York sports are sweet too, of course. But like.
And then LA's not up there. Like,
no. LA is not at all a sports city. And then like Chicago hasn't been good enough. And then who's left? I mean. Yeah. If Philly's up there, dude.
Detroit, I mean, but they're not on Philly's level.
Yeah, no. So, it was sweet, dude. I love being around a bunch of,
So, let's go ahead and talk about that game. That was Saturday night. I actually thought the Giants might have made that a game. And it wasn't from the start.
What did I tell you?
You did say it was going to be a blowout.
Bill Walsh said that football is about matchups, and they had literally not a single matchup on the whole field. They didn't have one matchup. They didn't.
And I do believe I brought that up on the podcast because I did a very short podcast on Saturday morning after you bailed. And I said, I don't know where the matchup is, but it wasn't there for Minnesota, and they made it work. Granted, Minnesota and Philly are two different animals.
And I think people kind of got their head blown up on Daniel Jones. Like, I know what Daniel Jones is. Is he, he's probably between 25 and 32.
I don't know. He might be higher than that, but he's serviceable.
I think he's a starter was my point. Maybe he's like 23 or something, 22. But, like, he's not above 20. I'm telling you right now. And I was trying to tell people that.
There's a reason. I believe that was the first game all year he threw for over 300 yards against Minnesota, which had a very porous defense. And there's a reason for that.
Exactly. And, I mean, he
and you know how I feel about passing yards.
Yeah, empty stat. I mean, between the 20s, a lot of teams will give it to you. You know what I mean?
But so really not close. Philly wins 38-7. The game felt over when it was 14-0.
Can I give a hot take, by the way?
Go ahead.
People, this is not an indictment on Brian Daboll, but I do think he's like starting to get a little bit overrated. I mean, let's be honest, man. Like the Giants weren't that good still. Their over/under was 7.5, and they won 9. Philly's over/under was 9.5, and they won 14.
I will say with the Giants, and part of a reason why next year I'm probably not going to pick them. Is because they were a lot like Minnesota. They won a lot of one-score games,
which is a testament to coaching. Like I said, I'm not like I think Daboll's a fantastic coach.
No, it is.
I don't know. I just feel like.
When it's that many times, like with Minnesota, it's the way the ball is bouncing your way.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think the Giants were a little inflated. 9-7-1. Good year. Better than what I expected. I remember doing a blog post about that 7.5, and being like, take the under.
To be fair,
that's easy money.
I did,
and dead wrong. But yeah, Giants good year. Also, the NFC was weak. That was also why
it was. but to be honest with you, and we can move on because it was a really boring game,
Yeah.
but that was best case scenario for every other team in the division. They still have no talent. They're picking in the 20s now. They don't have to pay Daniel Jones, but what the hell else are they going to do? Saquon wants $15 million a year. Like, I just think they kind of they kind of played for nothing almost. Because I remember early in the season, I don't remember who it is. It's she actually knows football like pretty well. It's a black chick on ESPN, and she's like, it's cool that you guys are winning, but like this isn't a good thing, right? You're not as good as Dallas and Philly. You're not going to win the division, like. This is supposed to be a rebuild, and I get it. You win games, like Daboll's going to try, but
no, but that's screwed. A good point.
They're screwed. I don't think they win 9 games next year, and if they do, they're not winning over 9 games. I can tell you that right now.
So the other Saturday game was Jags Chiefs. Score a little misleading. Chiefs were pulling away late, and then a late field goal made it a 1-possession game and a cover for Jacksonville, but never really felt like Jacksonville had control of the game. Like, it felt like Kansas City always kind of had control of that game.
Even when Chad Henne was in, honestly, it was only a 10-point game. I didn't feel it was that close, to be honest with you. If Pat Mahomes doesn't get hurt, I think it's 3-touchdown game.
Right. Now, granted, did Jacksonville have a chance to tie the game or take the lead when they fumbled inside the 10?
Don't think so. I think they were down 10 still.
Maybe.
I could be wrong, though.
That's probably right.
Yeah. So,
but I thought that was about the way I thought that would play out. I thought Peterson might be able to keep it close, and he did. I really liked the way Jacksonville set up, though. Super Bowl winning head coach. What's that?
Jags and Lions next year. Place the futures bet. They're both going to be good.
Definitely the Jags. I want to see what else happens in the NFC North first before I hop on the Lions, because not a trustworthy organization.
I agree, man, but that offense is going to be very good.
It is a good offense, but I'm more hesitant with the Lions. Although I'm in your camp though.
It's fair. It's fair to be hesitant on the Lions, no matter what. So,
well, it's just, does Rodgers? Because if Rodgers comes back, I'm probably gonna pick Green Bay.
I didn't necessarily say to win the division.
Yeah.
I just think they're gonna be very good, and it's funny that they never are. Is all.
No, but if Rodgers is gone, I'm probably gonna pick the Lions to win that division.
I agree. I totally agree.
Sunday, I thought this was gonna be the best game of the weekend, and it really wasn't. Cincy and Buffalo. That game really wasn't close.
Surprising, man. And dude, the score wasn't close, and it was even more of a blowout.
Yeah, 27-10, you're like, okay, so they got the better of them. But the product on the field, like, Buffalo never really had any momentum in that game.
Yeah, and you've been mad at me because you think I revoked my job.
Oh, I'm teasing. You know I'm teasing.
Listen, man.
I'm being melodramatic.
You can't beat 3 good teams or 4 good teams in a row, which you got to do in the playoffs when you just play backyard football all the time. If you don't have Andy Reid, like Pat Mahomes has kind of done that, but like Sean McDermott isn't that. And who's their Glenn who's their DC or OC now?
Dude, he used to be at Miami.
Ken Dorsey. He's no Daboll, man. I think he's decent, but like, I don't know, man.
I think you could tell. We can talk about Buffalo first, but my issue with Buffalo, first of all, some of the slander out there is ridiculous. We're both big Josh Allen fans, and people are already calling him like Cam Newton, a white Cam Newton.
Dude, I've seen him being compared to or I guess like a Phillip Rivers, and I'm just like, he's 26, dude. He has 4 playoff runs. He's already been to a dude. He has to beat Joe Burrow and Josh Allen.
He was 13 seconds away from going to an AFC Championship last year.
Yeah, I know. And he went to the AFC Championship the year before.
Yes. My issue with Buffalo has been the same issue the last couple of years. They got to change up their mentality, identity. I don't know what it is, especially on offense. I always thought their offensive line was pretty good, but Josh Allen took a beating in that playoff game and in the other playoff game against Miami. They got to beef up the O-line. They got to establish this. They got to start establishing the run. And then I'm going to criticize Josh Allen a little bit. He's got to quit playing hero ball, and because I thought Colin Cowherd made a good point with them. It feels like it's home run or they're not going to be able to do anything.
Yep, play within structure a little bit more. I think at the end of the day, though, too, first of all, they need an offensive head coach. I'm sorry. But I think their roster...
It's very surprising. Defensive-minded head coaches are usually like, we're going to run the ball, we're going to be physical.
Right?
And they're not with Sean McDermott.
And I don't think they necessarily have the personnel for it either, but that's your fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're the coach. Get the personnel in there, right? So I agree. I think that's what they'll do next year. Dude, Josh Allen should be a play-action quarterback. Like, that's where you're going to get all those bombs that you want to get. Like, run the ball. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think...
You're outdoors. You're in Buffalo. Teams don't want to come there, like Lambeau, be physical up front and run the ball.
Yeah.
No one wants to be physical in January in that weather.
Yeah, I agree. And I also kind of want to go on the other side. I think everyone kind of owes Zach Taylor an apology.
Yes.
I think he's actually, including myself, I think he's way better than a lot of people gave him credit for. You don't go to 2 AFC Championship games on accident.
No, that's fair. I was still going to be like, I don't know how good he is, but you're right.
I mean, is he elite? I mean, he might be. Maybe he is, but like, he's definitely not bad, man. He's a good coach. He's a very good
I'm
coach.
not sure he's even top 10, but like definitely top half of the league.
Now, is he probably 9 or 10? Sure.
Oh yeah, because I thought that with Matt LaFleur. I'm like, oh, he's top 10, and then like I ranked him like he's pushing, like he's barely in it if he is.
Yeah.
But he's definitely in the top half, like especially in that 9 through 12 or 14 range.
Agreed.
But, I mean, I had my boss, who is not a football fan, asked me this week, and this is kind of a prelude to what's going to come, because we're going to pick the conference championships here in a bit, but she asked me, who's going to win the Super Bowl, and I was like, it's hard to doubt Joe Burrow right now.
I know, man. I know.
And you were on it. I had a little bit more faith, I don't know about faith, but I believe more in Buffalo. But
he's a bad motherfucker, man.
He's a bad man.
I love that dude. He's fucking sweet, dude. I love good quarterbacks. There's no like good quarterback I don't like, and I fuck with Joe Burrow. Everyone does. Like,
I don't know of a guy who doesn't somewhat like Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Artis hates him just because he's a Chiefs fan, but that's okay.
Oh, he hates him because they probably got the better of him last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, he does.
I don't hate. I like Joe Burrow. I think people are really quick to like, oh, he's so awesome. I'm like, okay.
He's on the Bengals, dude.
I know, and I like the guy, but I don't know. There's some people go a little overboard with it. I feel like
he took just an.
Now I will say, what was it? A playoff game last year, or the Super Bowl, or maybe not the playoff game? He showed up in like a mink coat. That was awesome. Showed up like a pimp. That was awesome.
Yeah.
My brother has that as a shirt.
Yeah, he's sweet, dude. I love him. Yeah, like you said, I wouldn't count him out to win the Super Bowl this year, and that's probably the one team that could win where I wouldn't be like devastated, basically. Besides Philly.
We'll get to it in a bit.
Yeah.
The other game Sunday afternoon was Cowboys-Niners. The closer we got to that game, the more I thought the Cowboys might make a.
So did I, dude. I thought it was going to be Niners the whole time.
Yes.
When it got close to the game, I was not even like day of, like a day before the game. I was like
Thursday, Friday. I was like, I don't know. I think Dallas might win that game.
Yeah, I was just like, I think Dak's confidence is up. I think he's gonna, he might go play a little bit better than I think. That's the one thing listen, man. I've always been on that train with Dak. He's good, not great. I have a lot of people, especially Cowboys. I mean, I live with a Cowboys fan, and
I live near a bunch of them down here.
I'll give it to him, man. He beats the fucking piss out of bad teams. He does, which is, dude, there's something to say for that. Like, you can't sit there and, like, you lose the shitty like, I can't, when did he ever won a big game?
Yeah.
When did he ever won a big game?
I mean, Tampa last week,
but game that he definitely shouldn't win and won. When has he done what Joe Burrow did last week?
No, yeah.
No, he's never done it. Never. So,
I mean, I think Dallas fans are, some, not all, are coming to the realization, like, this has run its course.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually think they're going to take a small step back next year. They're going to lose some players. They're going to lose Tony Pollard, I think, who was their offense, in my opinion, this year. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, too. But, like, I don't know. I'm really glad. I think the Eagles are going to keep getting better, or at least maintain this. And I think they're getting worse. So yeah, I mean that game was really entertaining for how low scoring it was. And we'll get into it. Neither of those. I said at halftime, I was like, Eagles are beating either of these teams.
Yeah. My take. I mean, it's time. I think Dallas has to move on from Dak.
And
I don't know how you sign him to a big contract. Maybe you're able to trade him, but and I don't think it's going to happen overnight. But it's run its course. San Francisco though was the better team.
Yeah.
Which we knew. But I'll be honest. Like I went into the postseason being like, it's hard to go against the Niners right now. I have not liked the way they've played the last 2 weeks.
And, I mean, it's just... Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, so conference championship. Let's go ahead and break down the NFC championship. We're already talking about it. Niners at Eagles. Eagles right now only 2.5-point favorite. I really like the Eagles in this matchup after seeing last week. And I'm sure the Niners are going to be better this week, but...
I don't think it'll be a blowout.
No.
But the Eagles are better on both lines.
Well, the strength of the Niners is their D-line, and Philly's offensive line is really good.
Yeah.
On the other side, Philadelphia's defensive line is really good. San Francisco's offensive line is not as good as it used to be. No. And I think Philly could get after Brock Purdy in this matchup.
And Christian McCaffrey has a really tweaked calf right now, apparently. He hasn't practiced all week. I mean, if he's 80%, the Eagles are beating their ass, straight up. So
I think the Eagles win and cover.
Listen, man, I've you know me. I've always been like a pessimistic Eagles fan, which is why this season has been cool because I've been like weirdly confident the entire year. Jalen Hurts is going to ball tomorrow. That dude is
Sunday. We're taping this on Friday.
That dude's demeanor is insane.
He showed up last week against the Giants.
Dude, he just doesn't care about anything. Like, just straight face, threw a pick, threw a touchdown, doesn't care. He's the exact same guy. Like, I fucking love that dude, man. I love Jalen Hurts. He's going to ball. I'm telling you right now.
Now, you are going to be in Philly for the game, but you will not be there at the link.
No. I won't be at the link physically.
I'm glad. So I don't want to ruin it for you, but we set that up before the podcast because I asked you earlier today on Friday if you were going to the game. You said no, or Philly, not the game. And I quoted one of Dennis Reynolds' famous lines in It's Always Sunny and said, "Been there, not physically." And you were like, "How did I fuck that up?" I was like, "I'll let you take it on the podcast."
But yeah, it's gonna be sweet. It was electric last week, obviously, and I honestly think obviously that's the difference in the game. They got to travel all the way out east and play in the link. I found a couple other things interesting, just some little tidbits because I'm a fan, so I'm like, I'm a little closer to the team. Brock Purdy in college, I think, was like 14-2 or 14-3 at home and 10-13 on the road. So
how many road games has he played so far? I think just 2.
Just 2,
yeah.
And one of them was technically a home game for them in Las Vegas, and they still didn't play that well. He played decent, but the team didn't play.
Then Seattle, Seattle, not that good, but in a tough place to play. But Philly's a different animal. That's clearly going to be the best team that they have played on the road since he became the starter. And
another nice little tidbit that just honestly ended up working out at the beginning of the season. We hired 2 defensive coaches from the Iowa State Cyclones staff who were there the entire time he was a starter. They obviously are going to know exactly what he likes, what he does well, what he doesn't do well. I just think they got him, man. The only thing I can see happening is them just getting some turnover. Obviously, you get 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers, you win the game. If they can take care of the ball, man, I just don't see it. Even though they're they're the number 1 run defense, Philly's going to run on them. I don't care.
I just don't. The best way to knock out a good pass rush is to be able to run the ball. I think Philly
they're going to be able to run.
I just don't think the Niners' defensive line is going to be that dominant in this game.
No, Nick Bosa will, no doubt. But
yeah.
dude, the Eagles ran for 260 last week. They've ran for well over 300 yards multiple times this year. Like, they're not just some running team. Like, that entire team just runs behind that O-line, dude. The left side of the line is insane.
Yes.
Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata are so disgusting at run blocking. They're a little average at pass blocking. The right side of the line's more the pass blocking side, but, like, I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, the closer we get to this game, it feels like the Eagles are going to win and might win comfortably.
26-20 is my pick.
I was going to say probably 27-17 in that range. Maybe it's 10 points by the end of the game. So AFC side, Bengals, Chiefs. The line has really switched in this game. I don't know how it started, but I know at one point this week, Bengals were, I think, a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
And now it's already flipped, according to ESPN, to the Chiefs.
All the way back, dude.
Yeah, to the Chiefs -1 at least, maybe more. I would assume that has to do with Mahomes' injury originally, with the Bengals becoming the favorite, and now it sounds like we're getting good reports on his injury, which is a high ankle sprain. I've had high ankle sprains, hate them. I always wondered if maybe I overhype mine, but it's nice to see professional athletes say, no, these are rough injuries.
They really hurt, and any sprain, but especially a high ankle sprain.
I was notorious for getting them, especially when I played basketball. I got a grade 3 high ankle sprain one time, which is when one of your ligaments just tears completely, and that hurt like a bitch for about a month.
I bet. Fucking bet, dude.
So I don't like picking against the Chiefs because Arrowhead's one of the toughest places to play. But like I said earlier, it's hard to bet against Joe Burrow right now. What do you think?
Dude, I'm so 50-50 on it. I think the Chiefs are going to win. They just remind me of the cop from Terminator 2, where they're just...
who hasn't... I'm not a quarterback wins guy, but you know who hasn't beat Joe Burrow?
Yeah, Pat Mahomes. He's 3-0 against him. I know. But I saw the other day they were up,
which I don't believe that bullshit. I mean, it's 3 games.
But I mean, dude, that is significant because no one else does that to him. I think that's as close to a 50-50 game as you get. I think the home team is going to win. That's the only reason I'm picking them is it's an Arrowhead. I think it's like a 27-26 game, like field goal at the end.
Probably. I could see going to overtime. I'm gonna, I guess, be the Joe Burrow guy here. I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Dude, not a bad. Like I said, I'm like 51-45.
They showed me a lot last week. Now, can they replicate that? I don't know. But the Chiefs aren't exactly dominant defensively. Now, they're not a pushover like they used to be, but they're not really dominant. I could see Cincinnati going in there again, a cold weather environment, be like, we're just gonna pound the rock, be the more physical team. And then who knows with Mahomes' injury? Maybe he's not as healthy as the reports say.
I don't think he is, for what it's worth.
I don't think he'll be able to run.
No, he's not. And you know what? I think it's going to affect his throwing. He's going to have to do much more of like an Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to fall off my back foot all the time, which he can do because he has that arm strength and wrist flick. But, like, I don't know, man. If it's windy and shit, I don't think he's going to be able to necessarily step into his throws as well.
And since I said it earlier,
out of it right now.
I said it like in week 4 or 5. Cincy's defense is vastly underrated, and I think people are starting to come around to it. But that is a really good defense with a really good defensive front. I think that they could get after Mahomes if he's not healthy and can't move in the pocket.
I agree. And yeah, man, I don't want to say it, but I think I'm going to say it. If the Eagles win tomorrow, they're winning the Super Bowl because they're beating either of those teams.
I agree. Like, if it's maybe not the Chiefs, because you never know. Like Mahomes might be on fire.
You never know. Dude,
right.
Fucking Joe Burrow could go out there and talk.
True. But I think Cincy's the more favorable matchup with the Eagles.
I agree because of the O-line situation. I would much rather play Cincy than the Chiefs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just Pat Mahomes. Like I said, dude, Pat Mahomes just reminds me of the cop from Terminator 2, dude. He just... Yeah. You just shoot him with a shotgun, and he just absorbs that shit and keeps coming at you. Like, you think you won.
Which one is the better villain? Him or Arnold Schwarzenegger from the original? Have you seen the original?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
It's definitely... Dude, Terminator 2 is the best action movies
I love both movies. I always have a soft spot for the original. I think just because like it's a human fighting, like Michael Bihn's character fighting off the Terminator the whole movie instead of Terminator on Terminator.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Both are really good villains.
By the way, I know this isn't football related, but are you staying in tonight? You going out or anything?
No, I'm staying in. I got nothing going on.
Do you have HBO Max?
Yeah. Depends. Like, are you talking about HBO content?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Watch The Menu.
I did. I have.
Dude, that movie was fucking wild. I loved it. Obviously a little weird. Like,
it was weird.
I just feel like every movie I watch nowadays is like a sequel or a remake or a prequel or a spin-off. And like that was just so I haven't seen a movie that just like original.
So I've set out in recent weeks to try to watch some of these movies that are up for Oscars this year. The Menu was not, but I just heard good things about it. Another one was Banshees of Inisherin, which is up for a bunch of Oscars. Colin Farrell is probably going to win the Oscar for Best Actor for that.
Barry Kogan, I heard, might win it again. Or Key, however you say his last name.
He is up for supporting along with Brendan Gleeson, who's also in that movie. Keo, though, it's Keo, I don't know how to pronounce it. He is good in it, but he's also the Joker in the Batman trilogy. And then I've wanted to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. Never saw it.
I haven't watched it. I might watch that tonight too because I don't think I'm going out either. So.
But The Menu, that was weird, but I was entertained throughout the movie. It was very tense. Like the tension.
The whole time
was
I was just like, what is going on in this fucking movie, dude? It was the end is where it like went over the top, like almost like Tarantino style over the top.
I was like, really? That's how you're gonna end this? Just kind of.
But I'm glad you watched it. I've been telling everyone to watch it.
It's good. Like Ray Fiennes, one of the best actors going. Like I listen to the John Campea show. He talks a lot about Hollywood and entertainment and stuff like that. And he says Ray Fiennes right now is probably the best actor to not win an Oscar. And I'm like, that's probably accurate, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good movie. I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, she's literally in like it feels like every other movie commercial that pops up or preview, she's in it.
Have you seen The Northman?
I was just about to say I watched The Northman this week. I liked it. I did not love it.
So funny you said that because I think the story was really simple, which was like kind of why I wouldn't give it like a 10 out of 10.
Well, it's a trope that's been done a lot, but it never gets old.
It's Lion King, dude.
Well,
it's literally the same plot.
Because that tale, that Norse mythology, tale, is what inspired Shakespeare to write Hamlet, which is what The Lion King is based on.
Yeah. So, but like just visually, so good. Skarsgård is such a good actor. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Do you know who his dad is?
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård.
No. Or Stellan, who's been in a bunch of stuff.
What's his first name?
Stellan. Yeah, Stellan.
Yeah, yes, of course. So and his brother, who looks nothing.
Which I didn't know it until like you really can't tell, especially now because Stellan's aged and added weight. And if you look at Alexander, you're like, that dude's ripped. There's no way that's his son. But like look at Stellan when he was young, like in Good Will Hunting, and you're like, oh, that's definitely his son.
Yeah, but I think it's weird that Bill Skarsgård is the brother, and he just doesn't look like. Dude,
and I believe his other son, I want to say it's Peter, was Pennywise the Clown in it, which I'm not a horror movie guy.
That's Bill. That's Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, that's Bill. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was in like.
Oh, you mean Alexander's brother? I was referring. I think Stellan's got a brother too, who's in Hollywood.
Oh, maybe like an older guy. No, I was talking about Alexander Skarsgård's brother, Bill Skarsgård. Like, dude, awesome actor. Like, obviously, I don't know. I'm not a
horror movie guy, and I know it's really popular, but.
No, but watch The Devil All the Time if you haven't.
You always tell me to watch that movie. I have not.
Dude, you lie. It's set in West Virginia. You'll love it.
Is it really?
Sweet, yeah.
Okay. And I know you all. That was the movie when the Batman was coming out, and I was still on the fence about Robert Pattinson. You said, nope, watch this. I didn't. Instead, I watched The Lighthouse, which was Robert Eggers, who made The Northman.
Dude.
And after that, I was sold on Pattinson as Batman.
Dude, Pattinson, for this movie, he's like a pastor from West Virginia, so he has thick West Virginia accent.
Okay.
And they tried to send him to like an accents coach, and he was just like, "Nah, I got it," and just showed up first day and just fucking crushed it. So like, dude, it's awesome. Tom Holland's in it, very good. He's like the main character. His dad's Bill Skarsgård. Like, dude, very good movie. You'll love it. Watch it.
Okay.
And Bucky's in it.
Oh yeah, Sebastian Stan. I was about to say. I thought there was another Marvel connection.
Yeah, it's like an ensemble cast for sure.
Yeah. I was trying to think. There was another movie I thought I wanted to watch. No, don't really have anything. You want to talk about Frank Reich going to Carolina? I feel like that's pretty big news.
Yeah, I was a little upset because I kind of wanted him to be OC, but it's fine. We can just keep our coaching staff together. I think that's one of those like safe hires. Like it's one of those that like I definitely has a much higher floor than I think maybe a lot of these coaches, but I also think he has a much lower ceiling than like maybe one of those off the beaten path go. But like that's what the Panthers need right now. They need to get back on track. Like
if they can get the quarterback position right, depending on what happens with Brady, if he's gone, I'm picking that team to win that division next year.
Yeah, the division sucks.
That roster can win right now.
Yeah, I think they should go get Anthony Richardson. He's my favorite. So he's my new Josh Allen, by the way. He's the prospect in this class.
So who we got? We got Young, Levis, Stroud, Richardson. McKee's kind of the fifth guy.
I think Richardson will be the best in the class, personally.
I can see you hitching your wagon to him, even though he did go to a big school with a lot of talent.
I have a fucking, like, I can't explain it, but when players have that wrist flick, not like it doesn't look like they're like winding up and using all their might, and it's just like he has that, dude. I watched a video of him. He's throwing on air, and he's a project. I'm not saying he's going to step in and be good as a rookie, but like the tools, man. I think he's 6'5", 225.
Oh, he's got the traits for sure.
Fast, cannon, wrist flick, like just like a natural. I think he's like a natural quarterback, and I think if he goes to a team where he doesn't have to like be the savior, because he'll probably be the third quarterback picked or something, maybe even fourth.
Right now it feels like the fourth, but
yeah, probably the fourth. Honestly, I think after the combine he'll go a little higher because he'll probably run like a 4 and 5.
I would agree with that. So I'm getting a mock draft together that I'm going to put out after the Super Bowl when all the picks are set. And I have him now in the top 20. I'm not going to reveal where. But
I can tell you.
I'm waiting till after Pro Day and the Combine. He might slide up to the top 10.
Bryce Young might be the biggest bust in history. I don't get it.
I mean, he does everything right. I really worry about his size.
He's my size.
Yeah.
We are the same size. He's not 6 foot or 5'11", dude. They had pictures of him standing next to Kyler Murray. They're the same fucking height. He is a midget. He's 185 pounds. He's going to get
I agree.
Folded, Shane, in the NFL, dude. Folded.
And the difference between him and Kyler Murray, he is not as mobile as Kyler Murray.
Dude, Kyler Murray's a freak athlete. He's not. And, like, I get it, dude. He didn't go, like, this has been a much worse Alabama roster than usual. So I'm not even, like, using that against him because I think all the tools are there. Like, it's just his body type, dude.
I'm not as high on him as, like, I would draft, like, if I was the Texans or, I would draft him just to be safe. I would take
Stroud, for sure.
I like Stroud, too. Again, like your theory, I'm hesitant with him because he's throwing to a bunch of future first-round picks at wide receiver. The guy who is kind of the guy, like your Anthony Richardson, who I've kind of latched onto a little bit, is Will Levis. I hear all the criticism about him, and it's totally fair, but I think he's got the traits.
Senior Bowl, dude.
What's that?
I don't like him skipping the Senior Bowl.
A lot of guys have done that.
Yeah, but dude, he's not good enough. I don't know.
I hear you there.
I think that he definitely, like, again, I mean, he has all the physical tools, and I think that that's just really important, especially after we've seen, like, a lot of these quarterbacks get coached up. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts and fucking Josh Allen are perfect examples of that, of guys that were just really raw, but are like...
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, I did not see it with him.
Shane, I didn't want him to be my quarterback this year.
I didn't see it with him coming out. I was like, I remember.
And you want to know why? Like, I know this shit is corny and all that, but like, dude, he is the hardest worker in the room. He really is. I think practices all the time, and he got way better.
I remember the Packers being linked to him, and I was like, I do not want this. And it ended up being Jordan Love instead.
But Will Levis does fit my little criteria that I told you about. So,
well, the one thing I will say for him is I heard somewhere on a podcast, either Middlecoff or Rosillo, someone mentioned that, like, according to Pro Football Focus, he had like the highest drop rate and like among his receivers and his offensive line. It was something like the lowest win rate, among going up against defensive linemen. And like it was basically like, it was pressure. The amount of pressure he was under and the drop rate was worse than what some NFL quarterbacks had this year.
I do think there is something to be said for the fact that he's playing at Kentucky against a bunch of NFL players every week. And, what do you want him to do? Go to, dominate for Kentucky? It's probably not going to happen. But at the same time, I don't necessarily...
With a defensive-minded head coach in college football?
Yeah. Who is their coach? They got a good-ass coach.
Well, he's good, but it's not like he's some offensive wizard.
Isn't it somebody's son?
It's Stoops. It's one of the Stoops brothers, Mark Stoops.
Yes. But I don't know, man. I think he's the biggest wild card. I actually think I know what Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud are going to be.
If he was like 21, I'd really hitch my wagon to him. But he's an older guy. I think he's like 24, 25.
I don't know, man. I feel like he could be... I feel like he's Wentz-ish a little bit.
Yeah. I could see that.
I throw a lot of picks. Like, I'll probably make some really cool plays because I'm big, strong, fast, big arm. But, like, I don't know, man. But the one thing that's cool, I was hearing Middlecoff talk about it. They run, like, a legitimate pro-style offense.
Yes.
They're like, he's pretty much...
That's another reason why I like him.
He kind of is like, he'll probably be better quicker than the other guys, but I don't think he'll hit the ceiling that the other guys will, if that makes sense.
Maybe. I'm always up for draft. I don't remember. Who were our guys last year? We really didn't have one. But if we had to have one...
Well, it was an absolute dog shit draft. But Kenny Pickett did fit my criteria.
And he did have a decent rookie year by the end.
He did.
I'm trying to think of my guy. I guess I was a Malik Willis guy, and that didn't really come to fruition.
I mean, he was like the ultimate project. Like, I think he should switch positions.
Now, I will say, I was a little bit higher on Desmond Ridder than I think a lot of other people were, and he looked decent.
I did too. I don't know. I can't wait for the draft. Like, if my team wasn't like left standing, I would be so entrenched in draft shit right now. Like,
I mean, I am a little bit. Right now, it doesn't sound, because my team's picking 15th. And we might trade our quarterback and get another first-round pick. So then I'm really going to be interested.
You're going to get a one and some change, though.
Depends on who he goes to. I mean...
The fucking Jets, God bless you. I wouldn't even trade a first for Aaron Rodgers, and it's not a skill thing. I'm just not trading a first for a 40-year-old quarterback. But...
someone's going to. I think someone's going to.
Dude, the Jets, I'm about 90% sure that's why they hired Nate Hackett. Like, just do some math. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to be 2 firsts. However,
first and change, though.
If it's going to come from a team, I think it's going to be the Jets. That would give up 2 firsts.
Like, you guys should do, like, a first and, like, Elijah Moore. Or something like that. First and a player. You know what I mean? And
I don't have a problem with Elijah Moore. I'll tell you why they won't do that is because Moore's size. They typically like bigger receivers.
Let's put him in the slot, though.
Well, I'm saying they typically like bigger receivers.
Would you just have him replace Randy?
We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
Yeah, so... I want the Eagles to get Tyree Jackson really bad. That's his name, right?
Tyree, I want to say Owens, but that's not it. I think he played at WVU.
The fucking
dude from Texas Tech.
Yeah, that plays.
He fits their criteria for defensive linemen.
Yeah, he does. He's the dude who's going to go to the combine and act like an alien, basically, and then go in the top 5. I can see it right now.
I'm hesitant with him. I heard like he was kind of a 1-year wonder, and those guys always worry me.
I think it's just one of those things like. Dude, I think that's what the NFL is now, dude. You got to go get guys that are just freaks of nature and coach them up. That's your job.
I'm still in the camp that production matters for the most part. I do like traits, but Production does matter.
And there has to be context. Not that he did produce, and you're right though. It was like more of a one-year wonder type thing. But I'm thinking of who we could get at 10, and I think there's a potential for him to be there.
I think there's going to be a run. The more I hear about this cornerback class, the more it sounds like it's going to be a really good cornerback class.
I would take Joey Porter at 10. I like him.
I think he'll be there going by right now. But I'll be honest. He's kind of slipping, and it's not so much because of him. I think they like other guys.
Yeah.
I've heard right now. I said on the last time you were on, it was like Ringo and Porter were 1 and 2. Not so much anymore. It sounds like it's going to be.
I think I heard Ringo should slide down in the first a little bit. I heard the wide receiver from Ohio State is like going to slide to like the second or third round.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
But yeah, we'll see. I can't wait. But
right now it's looking like the Witherspoon and Gonzalez. Witherspoon from Illinois, Gonzalez from Oregon.
Yeah, I would like Christian Gonzalez too. Philly needs a corner. That's probably one of the few holes we have. So
that feels like where they're going to get. Even though, like I said, I think it's Tyree Jackson is his name.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it is.
Fits their criteria, but I feel like they need corner more than edge rusher. Who knows? But they do also.
But I also hope they don't draft for need at the same time. Like go get a 1-year player in free agency or something again. Like don't just draft a player because he's. I think Howie's learned his lesson there.
All right.
The Jalen Reagor thing. So
we got. I didn't really mention my conversation, I guess, about Frank Reich.
Yeah. What do you?
I like Frank Reich. I think he got a raw deal at Indianapolis. Not that he should have kept his job, but I think that was the way they were going with that was gonna happen because they had no stability at the quarterback position. Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan. Those were his quarterbacks. 5 years in a row. Like, just no stability. They kept trying to. They were never really in a position to draft one, so they kept trying to get a free agent or a veteran. And it just felt like this was going to happen eventually when you don't have stability. So I think he kind of got a raw deal through that. I still think he's a really good coach.
I do too. I think he's, I think he's a middle of the pack, head coach, which is.
Kind of like Ron Rivera. Like I just think they're good coaches.
Better version of Ron Rivera, just an offensive coach. But I agree. I think he's. I think that's like the perfect picture of like I will make sure that we aren't just a dumpster fire all the time. So I do. I agree. I totally agree.
So I would love to see them get like I don't know if he'll be there at pick 9, but like a CJ Stroud or one of these young quarterbacks. And let's see what he can do with a young quarterback who can be there.
He's the best coach in the division. I can tell you that. Even though I think Arthur Smith isn't terrible, but I do think he's the best coach in the division.
Yeah.
Dennis Allen sucks balls.
Dennis Allen's not that good. Todd Bowles, I think is okay.
He's a great coordinator.
Yeah.
Horrible head coach.
And then, I think Arthur Smith is better than a lot better than people think.
Yeah. Yep.
So, that's where I'm at. I'd love to see. Carolina's a team I got circled. I want to see what they do this offseason because I think they could be a playoff team next year.
I agree. I'm sure Tepper's, is willing to spend some money. So, they're
He's getting impatient. He wants to win. He's getting impatient.
Of course.
All right, my man. I think we've talked. I don't know how long we're going. We've talked enough ball.
Chiefs Eagles, baby. I want Chiefs Bengals, but Chiefs Eagles.
I'm gonna go. Well, it's not gonna be Chiefs Bengals. It's gonna be for you. It'll be Bengals Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't like the way the Niners are playing. I think this is after last week. I said after Saturday night. I'm like, I think the Eagles have woken up.
Yeah.
It almost feels like 2017. They went into that postseason kind of hobbled, and everyone doubted them, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl.
Dude, they had 22 of 22 starters playing on Friday or on Sunday. That's insane at the end of the year. That just doesn't happen. So they got healthy at the right time. I think they got their mojo back last week. Not that
but Jalen Hurts looked a lot healthier than what I was anticipating.
I agree, and I think I think he feels good now. That was apparently like a 5-week injury. It's been 7 now.
Lane Johnson looked a lot healthier than what I was anticipating too.
Dude, he had a torn adductor. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How are you moving?
Well, I remember Green Bay signing Whitney Mercilus, and within 3 weeks, he tore a pec, and that's usually you're done for not forever, but for the rest of the season. And he was back for the playoffs. Now, it didn't matter, but I was like, how are you here?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to get surgery after the season, but, I mean, dude, they win when Lane Johnson's on the field. And they
do win with Lane Johnson on the field.
Last thing that I'll say, because I feel like most people that aren't Eagles fans don't know this, Jalen Hurts is 21-4 in his last 25 starts. He's
3 losses this year, and then the playoff game last year?
Yeah, the playoff game, and then he lost the Giants game like week 11 of last year. Dude, he's 16-1 in his last 7. So we'll just do a season sample size. 16-1. So like when Jalen plays, dude, they win games. Like they win almost every fucking time. So I feel good about it. Let's go. I'm hyped.
I think I feel like Brock Purdy, and I don't want to say has shown vulnerability because he was Mr. Irrelevant. But I feel like he has come back to earth a little bit.
Yes.
In the last 2 weeks.
If Christian McCaffrey's shit is really tweaked, because Debo's definitely is. Like, Debo didn't play that well last week against the Cowboys. He was out.
If the Eagles can contain Kittle, I think they have a really good chance.
And they're going to put C.J. Gardner-Johnson on him, which is about as good as you can do. He's going to get his, but that's fine. I don't think he's going to be the reason they win. So, let's go.
Eagles going to the Super Bowl. Joey Burrow going back to the Super Bowl. Birds of War, man. I don't know how I didn't bring that up. Birds of War.
Go watch that episode right now. No
what were the lyrics I sent you? Something about feathers. Yes, we have feathers, but the muscles are man.
And Dennis is like gyrating.
Well, you got to listen to their podcast. So they talk about that. How they did a song. Oh, it was in the Nightman Cometh episode. D's song about, just to be clear, I did not write that song and would never have sex with a child, just to be clear. So they oversimplified that, and then that turned into, they used that again for the Birds of War song, oversimplifying so that they don't get confused, which is in that lyric. Yes, we have feathers, but the muscles are man. And then I forget how it wraps up, but because we're birds of war now, but we're also men, is how they wrap up.
Birds of war,
caw, All right, I'll let you go.
All right, bro. Later.
Later.